President of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, Local 1442. I'm here to speak in opposition to the issuance of the liquor license to the Target department store located at 10861 Weyburn. I'm here speaking on behalf of Local 770 and Local 1442. Our union members are represented here in the back with the appropriate yellow-colored shirts on, or orange, whichever you can figure that to be out that color out to be. But anyhow, we join as well with the Westwood Neighborhood and Community Councils in opposing this. I wanted to point out to the City Council that at that very same location, 10861 Weyburn, we have a Ralph's grocery store there, which is a union grocery store, and right near there in Glendon, we have a unionized Rite Aid drugstore. They both sell spirits. And I know the City Council here stands and has stood for livable wage for the citizens in Los Angeles. Livable wages plus decent health and welfare and decent pension benefits. I know that you stand for that. And that's what the Ralph's grocery store provides to the 150 members that 770 and 1442 has at that Ralph's location, as well as the 35 employees, members that work at the Rite Aid right there. They both sell spirits. And by allowing Target department store to have this license to sell spirit, every dollar that is sold, every dollar's worth of spirits that is sold in the Target department store is a dollar less that's sold in our union stores. And as you know, our members who have a livable wage, their weekly hours are allocated by the sales in those stores. And what's going to happen here, Target department stores, just for your information, is a notoriously anti-union corporation. There are pending federal labor charges against them constantly. They do not pay a livable wage. They do not provide decent health and welfare benefits, and we urge a no vote on this.
Jerry Brown, next speaker, followed by Wolfgang Keith.
I'm Dr. Jerry Brown. I'm president of the Westwood Neighborhood Council, which represents 60,000 stakeholders, and I'm a member of its land use committee. You are here to decide whether the city Target store in Westwood is to be granted a CUB for the sale of alcohol for off-site consumption because it is a public convenience and necessity, when there are 3 other locations for such within 100 feet of that store, and when granting that CUB means that you are failing to abide by specific law which should be governing your decision. The Westwood Neighborhood Land Use Committee voted and the board unanimously concurred to deny the application to the Westwood City Target store to sell alcohol for off-site consumption. The council's vote reflected its support of its land use committee's default position on all applications to it, namely that the laws which are in place are to be enforced because granting exceptions to the law on a case-by-case basis is inherently unfair and ultimately destructive to the city's entire planning process. The issue is now before you because the Area Planning Commission failed to abide by existing law. The deciding votes were cast by one APC board member based upon her poll of several friends, and by another member because his wife thought it would be a convenience to her, even though she did not live anywhere near this City Target store in Westwood. City Target stores are not regional stores, and their business model is to focus sharply on the needs of the particular community where they are located. There's law governing the number of allowable sites within a given area which are permitted to sell alcohol for off-site consumption. Do not nullify the law and do not diminish the City Council's legitimacy in so doing. Do not set a precedent from which there can be no possible retreat.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And now we're going to call on Mr. Wolfgang Keith. Thank you.
I'm Wolfgang Veit, a 44-year resident of the North Westwood Village. I'm a member of the Westwood Community Council and founder of the North Westwood Village Residents Association. I respectfully request that the City Council denies the Westwood Target application for a permit to sell alcohol off-site, which is the 6th permit in an area that is limited to 5. Because this permit would exceed the number of permits for the Westwood Village, it would set a very dangerous precedent. That is why this request is opposed by the larger Westwood community represented by the Westwood Neighborhood Council and the Westwood Community Council. And the request was denied by the city zoning administrator for those same reasons. What is at stake here is a request by the Westwood City Target store for a 6th permit to allow off-site sales of alcoholic beverages in an area that's limited to 5. There's absolutely no need for this Target store to sell alcohol in that location. In the same building, only 1 floor up is the Los Angeles, the very large Ralph store, and across the street in the very same corner are a large Rite Aid store and a Trader Joe's market. All 3 of them are already offering full line of alcoholic beverages, and the UCLA campus with 15,000 students, most undergraduates of them underage, most of them just a couple of 100 feet away. Also, since the Ralph store with a union labor force is just 1 flight up in the same building from the Westwood Target store, granting this license would result in completely unfair competition to non-union Target store. I understand that in order...
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Resnick for the Westwood Homeowners Association. Thank you.
Good morning. Stephen Resnick, President of Westwood Homeowners Association and also Secretary of the Westwood Neighborhood Council. Not one single Westwood community group supports this request. The Westwood Neighborhood Council, as you previously heard, unanimously passed a motion to oppose this. You have the community impact statement. And the Westwood Homeowners Association also unanimously passed a motion to oppose this request by Target. You need to know that no UCLA student representative on the council is in favor of Target's request. As one UCLA student representative stated when we voted at our neighborhood council, we need Target to sell shoes, not alcohol. This is most definitely not a one-stop Target store, contrary to their claims. And as you previously heard, the city zoning administration denied Target's request. And again, it would be an unprecedented 6th alcohol permit for the first time in the history of Westwood. 3 existing licensees now sell a full line of alcoholic beverages within 100 feet of Target and 5 off-site retail outlets within 3 blocks of Target. To now give to Target what has been denied to other responsible retailers would be obvious favoritism and would open up the city to future lawsuits that the city was acting in an arbitrary and capricious manner. Your approval would open the door to more requests for alcohol permits in Westwood Village. How could they be legitimately denied when you approved this one for Target? Our Westwood Neighborhood Council and my association, the Westwood Homeowners Association, and every other Westwood organization urges you to deny this unjustified request. Please support our community and vote no. Thank you.
Adam Swarth, S-W-A-R-T-H. Thank you, Adam.
All right, good morning. My name is Adam Swart, and I'm a UCLA student and a member of the Westwood Community Council. I'm here to speak in opposition to granting Target this request to sell liquor. As a resident who lives right across the street from Target, I shop there regularly, and I know there's a lot they don't sell. They need to be selling more sports equipment. They need to be selling shoes. They need to be selling things that are useful to the community and that people want. Meanwhile, there's a huge oversaturation of alcohol already. Believe me, I know that as a student. It's very easy to obtain alcohol in Westwood. There's no issue of public convenience or public good here. It's a matter, there's no convenience that is added by this. And in addition, many residents of my building are already complaining about the large number of alcoholics that hang out near Target right now. They make people feel uncomfortable, especially a lot of foreign residents of my building feel very uncomfortable with all the alcoholics there. I can only imagine that if Target begins to sell inexpensive alcohol, that this problem will only be increased and people will be feeling even more uncomfortable hanging out in Westwood Village, which is supposed to be a hub of life in this city. So for those reasons, A, because of the oversaturation of alcohol in the community, B, because we need Target to sell other things that actually help the community, and C, because of the threats to the community coming from alcoholics and making sure that our community is safe, I highly urge this council to reject the idea of Target selling alcohol in its Westwood Village location.
Thank you, Adam. Ryan Krebs.
Good morning, members of the City Council. My name is Ryan Krebs. I'm a 2012 graduate of UCLA, a member of the Westwood Neighborhood Council, and a resident actually across the street from the location of the Target. And I urge you all to vote no on this measure. Here's why. As a resident assistant at UCLA a couple of years ago, I was always asked by my residents, Ryan, where can I buy so-and-so? And there was a lot of items that aren't available at Target, such as shoes. I would have to tell them, well, you'd have to go out of Westwood to get those items. We want them to stay in Westwood where they're able to purchase those items. Because the real public convenience and the real necessity, in this case, is not alcohol. It's purchasing everyday items that students and residents of Westwood need. And it's for these reasons that I respectfully urge you all to vote no on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Stefan, I want to say Stefan from the Westwood Community Council. Forgive me for mispronouncing your names.
My name is Stephen San. I'm the chairman of the Westwood Community Council. Our council voted unanimously to oppose this unjustified request. We urge you and join with the entire community and ask that you vote no. You've heard this corner is oversaturated with 3. Target's suggestion that this corner with 3 existing outlets does not provide convenient enough access to alcohol is frankly ridiculous. It turns logic on its head. Unfortunately, our council office, with whom we normally work very closely, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate our council member, the community is here, and the council office is here. Why is that? Our councilman, Mr. Koretz, he is a very honorable man, and he is a man of his word. We all know that. And apparently, about 2 years ago, Target approached him and said, we want to come into the district, we want alcohol there, will you support us? And he said he would. We know that because in December 2011, his deputy came and testified to that. Target at that point had never even approached our community. They didn't approach the neighborhood council, no one. And that's why the council office is here and the community is here. But each of you 14, you also made a promise. You made a promise when you were sworn into office to uphold the law, to do the right thing for the city, and to protect the city from liability. And what is that liability? It is the liability that would come from an arbitrary and capricious decision. When Save-On and Walgreens and FEMA and CVS have all been denied the identical request. You all know Mr. Ben Resnick. He's a great land use lawyer. We all know him. If I'm Ben Resnick, this is the Ben Resnick Full Employment Act. Because anytime someone wants alcohol, they will hire him and he will march into a court and say, Your Honor, look what the city does. They favor Target and they deny this client. He's going to win that case over and over again. Cha-ching, cha-ching, damages to the city. I would urge you, allow Mr. Koretz to keep his promise to Target. We're disappointed in that. He's going to vote, but we urge you to please vote no.
Rick Nightingale from the San Fernando Valley. You pass, Rick. Thank you very much. John Walsh, Hollywood, California. John, you're out of time, so just say good afternoon. I'm sorry, John.
John Walsh, against the
Thank
alcohol.
you very much, Mr. Walsh. Sharon Brewer. Sharon Brewer still here?
Sharon Brewer on item number 1, the Target retail store. After listening to the public make comments, you definitely shouldn't vote for this because they've taken and determined that there's an oversaturation of liquor stores and availability. So there is no need for public convenience because they already have it. And the necessity, I don't know about needing more places to buy liquor. The only point that's here is that Target wants to make money, and they don't care how they get it. And I just find it really strange that with liquor licenses that there is a public convenience needed or the necessity. So it's just the mighty dollar, and if there's an overabundance of places to buy your liquor, then you need to actually cut down on it. And if there's a need for more product at Target, I don't go there, then focus on what Target should be, a family store where people can go and get stuff and, you know, leave the liquor to someplace else. Thank you.
I want to say Sarat Stearns, is that correct? On 91301, Sarah? I apologize, Sarah. I'm Tom Labongi, so you could...
Nice, face-to-face. I was at the meeting last week to speak on the liquor license thing. Not to tell, I said I'm not here to tell you how to vote, just to, so I could know that you knew the math behind every outlet that sells alcohol based upon the numbers of the study that you guys commissioned, the council did. The numbers came back. The violence, the child mistreatment, the suicide rates of people based upon the density of alcohol outlets, every single one of them. I was urging you also to embrace that every single vote is now an expression of your intent. We all got to start over. This is the first vote of the rest of your lives. So nothing's ugly yet, but actions are now mathematically sinister. I know that. That's why I'm here regularly now, because my silence is now sinister. It just is. For a $100 liquor license that you get for a year, yeah, you can have 25,000 more hospital injuries, 2,000 more crashes that are like fatal's 500. I told you the math last week. This one is about your intent. It will start to be embarrassing when you say certain things in a couple more weeks. You won't be able to say things like, I care about the community. You won't be able to say things about the safety of children. It will start to just be so embarrassing. It's already kind of ugly and painful to me to hear what fear-based action have done us when we didn't have the math, okay? We didn't know before, like, really how important it was what we do with what made us. We break things, but we get to make things. The earth doesn't break things. It made us. It made sure that bees don't break. It made sure that things don't break. We need to, like, enjoy the fact that we get to create, break, and redo. My 7 seconds is, like, far from all the things, but epileptic children are cured with cannabis, too. Dispensaries.
Beth Abulafia, excuse me, Beth.
Do you know her? She's downtown.
Good morning. I'm Beth Abulafia, representing Target. You've heard a lot of comments this morning that have nothing to do with what this application is for. This is not about what other products Target sells. It's not about union issues. It's a very discreet request. It's a request that this council make a finding that allowing Target to sell alcoholic beverages as part of its overall product mix will be a public convenience, will be a convenience to the thousands of customers who come to Target every day and expect one-stop shopping, who come to Target and expect to be able to find at this Westwood Target the same products that they're able to find at other Targets, and that includes alcoholic beverages. You've also heard that there's some cutoff on the number of alcohol licenses that are permitted. That's not accurate. What the law says is that after a certain number, the city is tasked with looking at the individual applicant and deciding whether that applicant and that applicant's business model warrants allowing the sale of alcoholic beverages. And that's what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to look at Target's business, look at Target's operations, look at Target as a community partner, and simply make the finding that allowing Target to sell alcoholic beverages is a convenience to all of the customers who come to Target from all over West LA every day and want one-stop shopping. Target has been a positive addition to Westwood, and we urge you to support Target and to support this request.
Next speaker, Ira Handelman.
Ira Handelman, Handelman Consulting, representing Target. I'm here to bring in the fact that Target is a major corporate citizen in Los Angeles. There's over 15 stores, 4,000 workers. They work very closely with LAPD. Their track record in selling all products is exemplary. And we're not here to talk about product mix. Nobody's talking about telling Ralph's or Whole Foods or anyone else what to sell. Target got its conditional use permit through the process. We went before the Area-Wide Planning Commission and won, and some of the opponents say that's not right, but when they've lost at staff levels and they go to the Area-Wide Planning Commission and they win, then the process is okay. It seems when Target goes through the process and gets a conditional use permit legally and fairly, then it's not okay. So I urge you to support this request. As Beth said, it's a PCNN. We're not here to discuss labor. We're not here to discuss product mix. We're here to discuss a good corporate citizen in Target, and I urge you to support us in the council office in granting this request. Thank you very much.
Okay, Madam Clerk, that concludes the public comment on that. We have Mr. Englander and Mr. Koretz.
Yes, thank you very much. I listened to a lot of the comments and concerns from the community, and I take it very seriously when we approve any additional alcohol sales, particularly when there's a proliferation in a community. And as the chair of public safety and also sitting on land use committee, I look at these often. And in fact, this body turns more of them down than are approved. And a lot of people will say, well, that's not true. Every time we see one that comes, it's approved. Because you don't see the ones that are turned down. They don't make it here. Having said that, there's an extensive process that goes through LAPD as well. There was some mention that there were some stores down the street that weren't allowed. Well, if they're down the street, it's a different location. It could be a same neighborhood. It's a different location. They also look at all the other incidents that are involved, whether it's traffic collisions, DUIs, how it's and who is buying it, what type of stores, whether it's a gas station, whether it's a single carry type of sale or not, whether it's a cold beverage or not. All of those things are taken into consideration. And I absolutely have full faith and trust in Mr. Koretz in looking at these issues. I know the LAPD already did. The findings were there to approve it. And it's not from a public safety perspective at all. I assure you that, because I look at these very seriously. And I support moving forward on this and know that the research, in fact, has been done. Thank you.
Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sergeant Miss Folger from Birmingham High should know that she should not speak out in class like that.
Well, colleagues, I've spent a couple of years struggling with these issues. News to me that I irrevocably committed in 2011 to supporting this. And there are a few issues that have given me more heartburn. But there are a lot of things I looked at. Number one, taking into account the cap on overall alcohol sales in Westwood, I believe there's a cap of around 7 restaurant alcohol licenses. We have around 20 or so more than that in Westwood Village, and many of the people that are opposed to this particular license were the same people that encouraged us to approve some of those additional alcohol licenses in restaurants where people drink and then they drive home. Clearly a danger, as much as these other choices. Also, some of them have the right to engage in off-site sales as well. Now, we have a few licenses for purely off-site sales with larger establishments generally. And they are clearly much easier access to alcohol than Target would be. Target is kind of a pain in the ass to shop in unless you're there for a large number of purchase of items. I think the number of people that will actually go there to buy alcohol and leave will be virtually none, if not none. So I don't believe that this will be anything but a completely ancillary use. I believe it will have no direct impact on the community, or I wouldn't do this. And the West LA Area Planning Commission agreed with me. It's not an easy commission to get things through. Obviously, the residents and community that are opposed weren't happy with that, but that was their decision, and that weighed heavily on me as well. It's also difficult for me to have UFCW in opposition. I've worked so closely with the UFCW for decades. Every time there's a strike, I've been there at supermarkets all over the Southern California area in support. And I've marched when there have been strikes averted, like the last one. We worked together on Proposition D, medical marijuana. I was the lead person pushing that on the council, and I think that will help a lot of patients get through difficult times. We've done a lot of other things together, but this happens to be one where we disagree, and coming in just a couple days before an already extended period and asking us to make this change, I think is a difficult one. So I'm going to support the applicant's request, as difficult as it is. In response to community concerns, I have asked Target to limit their hours slightly for alcohol sales. So they have agreed to no later than 10 p.m. For alcohol sales on regular business days. They've agreed to this condition, and Target and myself will be submitting letters to the ABC requesting these further limitations be placed directly on their alcohol license. So it's been a difficult issue, but this is where I am. It's obviously not a political decision, because I would trade the Westwood community at UFCW for Target in a heartbeat. Politically, I have no connections to Target whatsoever, and obviously close connections to my community and to one of the labor unions that I've been the closest to for decades. But this is where I believe the right decision is, and I'm going to ask for an aye vote.
All right, Mr. Koretz, there's no other speakers on the queue. Madam Clerk, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, forthwith then on the item. Next item.
Mr. President, that takes council to general public comment.
General public comment right now. Thank you very much. Miriam Fogel, you're first. Public comment.